It's our stories. Welcome to a world where real stories sounds like a movie script.
Do you think your personal property is inviolable? Do you think that if you bought something with your own money, no one has the right to take it away from you? I used to think so too, until I found myself in a confined space with a woman for whom the word no was tantamount to a declaration of war. This story began with a request to play Nintendo and ended with handcuffs, a broken face, and a lawsuit that ruined someone's life. Buckle up, it's gonna be rough. There are places on Earth where logic goes to die. Dark alleyways, political rallies, the comment sections of conspiracy websites. But none of them compare to the specific circle of hell that is a crowded economy-class train car on a 12-hour journey. I should have flown. God, I replay that thought in my head every single night. I should have flown. But I was trying to save money. I was trying to be financially responsible after losing my job at the agency. My name is Alex, and if you're listening to this, you probably like video games. You probably view them as an escape, a way to detach from a reality that is often disappointing, gray, and cold. That's all I wanted, just 12 hours of detachment. I had my backpack, I had a bag of beef jerky, and I had my Nintendo Switch OLED. It wasn't just a console to me. It was a gift from my fiancée, Sarah, 2 weeks before she passed away in a car accident last year. It was the last thing she ever gave me. Her profile was still on it, her save files were still on it. It was a digital ghost of the woman I loved. I treated that device like it was made of holy glass. I found my seat, 14A, window seat, perfect. I put on my noise-canceling headphones, the big over-ear kind that scream, "Leave me alone," and sank into the corner. I booted up Breath of the Wild. I needed the open fields. I needed the silence of Hyrule. The train departed. The rhythm of the tracks was soothing. Click-clack, click-clack. I felt my shoulders relax for the first time in months. Then, at the first stop, she got on. You know the type before they even speak. It's an aura, a gravitational field of entitlement. She was maybe 35, wearing a leopard print coat that looked expensive but smelled like cheap vanilla car air freshener. She had the haircut, you know the one, the "I want to speak to the manager" bob, sharp enough to cut glass. Dragging behind her was the Spawn, a boy, maybe 7 or 8. He wasn't walking, he was stomping. He had sticky residue around his mouth, probably chocolate or Cheetos, and he was holding a tablet with a cracked screen. I prayed to every god I didn't believe in. Please, don't sit next to me. Please, keep walking. My prayers went to voicemail. "Excuse me," she said. It wasn't a polite request. It was a notification of arrival. I looked up. She was pointing at the empty aisle seat next to me, or rather, she was pointing at my backpack, which was slightly encroaching on the empty seat's airspace. "Oh, sorry," I mumbled, moving my bag to my lap. She sat down. She took up space. Not physically, she was thin, but energetically. She sighed loudly, adjusting her coat, slamming her oversized purse onto the tray table. The kid, let's call him Timmy, sat on her lap, his legs kicking out immediately. Thump. His sneaker hit my shin. I ignored it. Thump. Again. I shifted my legs toward the window, turning up the volume in my headphones. I dove back into the game. I was fighting a Lionel. I needed focus. Then I felt a tapping on my shoulder. Not a gentle tap, a sharp, poking finger. I paused the game. I slid one ear cup off. "Yeah?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral. "Do you have games on that?" the kid asked. He was staring at my Switch with predatory eyes. Eyes that had never been told no. "Yeah, I do," I said, "but I'm playing right now." I put the headphone back on. End of conversation, right? Wrong. The tapping came again, harder, a jab into my deltoid. I took the headphones off completely this time, letting them hang around my neck. The mother was looking at me now. Her eyes were cold, assessing. She was scanning me, my worn-out hoodie, my unshaven face, the dark circles under my eyes. She had already categorized me. Loser, man-child, target. "He asked you a question," she said. Her voice was nasally, piercing through the hum of the train. "And I answered him," I replied. I'm playing. Well, he's bored, she stated, as if this was my problem, as if the universe revolved around Timmy's boredom levels. His iPad died. We have 6 hours left. That sucks, I said, and went to put my headphones back on. She put her hand on my arm. Her fingers dug in. Her nails were long, acrylic, painted a blood red. It was a violation. You don't touch strangers. Excuse me, I said, pulling my arm away. Don't touch me. Don't be rude, she snapped. I'm just saying, you're a grown man. Look at you. You're what, 30? 28, I corrected, instantly regretting engaging with her. 28, she scoffed, a sound of pure derision. Playing with a toy. A child's toy. My son is 7. It's made for him. You should let him have a turn. It's the polite thing to do. I stared at her. I looked around the train car. A few people were looking, but most were buried in their phones or sleeping. It's not a toy, I said, my grip tightening on the console. It's a $300 piece of electronics, and it's mine. I'm using it. You're being selfish, she said, her voice raising a decibel. Look at him. He's crying. I looked at Timmy. He wasn't crying. He was scowling. He looked like a gargoyle plotting a murder. I want it! Timmy shrieked. Suddenly, without warning, it was a sound that shattered the peace of the entire carriage. Mommy, I want to play Mario! I saw him playing Mario! Shh, shh, Mommy will get it for you, she cooed, stroking his hair while staring daggers at me. See, now you've upset him. Are you happy, a grown man making a little boy cry? I didn't do anything, I whispered harshly. I'm sitting here minding my own business. Please, just leave me alone. Let him play for 30 minutes, she bargained. But it wasn't a bargain, it was a demand. Just 30 minutes while I take a nap. You can read a book or something. Do something productive for once. No. Excuse me? No, I said firmly. I don't know you. I don't know your kid. I'm not handing over my property to a stranger. End of story. I put my headphones back on. I turned the noise cancellation to the max. I cranked the volume up until the battle music hurt my ears. I stared at the screen, but I wasn't playing anymore. My heart was hammering against my ribs. I could feel the adrenaline, the flight or fight response kicking in. I saw her mouth moving in my peripheral vision. She was talking to me, or shouting. I didn't care. I just wanted to disappear. Then, the screen went black. Not because the battery died, but because a hand, a small, sticky hand, had reached over, grabbed the top of the console, and yanked it. I reacted on instinct. I gripped it tighter. Hey, I shouted, my voice booming in the quiet train car because of my headphones. I looked down. Timmy had his claws on my switch. He was pulling. I was pulling back. Let go, I yelled. Mommy, he hit me, the kid screamed. He let go of the switch and threw himself back against his mother, clutching his wrist. He hadn't been hit. He was an actor, a prodigy of manipulation. The mother stood up. She towered over me in the cramped seat. Her face was red, her veins bulging in her neck. Did you just hit my son? She screeched. Every head in the train car turned. The silence was heavy, thick with judgment. I pulled my headphones off. What? No, he tried to steal my— You hit him, she yelled, pointing a red talon at my face. I saw it. You twisted his wrist because he wanted to look at your stupid game. You animal. Lady, you are crazy. I stood up now. I had to. I felt trapped in the corner. He grabbed my property. I just held on to it. It's a toy, she screamed, spitting slightly. It's for kids. Why are you so obsessed with it? Are you a pervert? Is that it? You have weird pictures on there? Is that why you won't let a child see it? The air left the room. The word hung there. Pervert. It's the nuclear bomb of accusations. You drop that word on a man in a public space, and he is guilty until proven innocent. I saw the looks from the other passengers shift. The guy in 15C, a big guy in a flannel shirt, stood up. An older woman in the aisle seat gasped. They weren't looking at the crazy woman anymore. They were looking at the unshaven, hoodie-wearing man who allegedly just hurt a child. "Show us," she demanded, sensing the crowd was on her side. "Give it here. If you have nothing to hide, let him play." She reached for it again. I pulled it to my chest. "Back off! He's attacking me!" she shrieked, throwing her hands up as if I had swung at her. The guy in the flannel shirt stepped forward. "Hey, buddy," he rumbled, his voice low and threatening. "Maybe you should calm down and show the lady some respect. She's trying to steal my Switch," I pleaded, looking at the guy. "She's crazy." "Don't call her crazy," Flannel Guy said, "and stop hoarding the toy. Let the kid play. What's wrong with you?" I was surrounded, trapped against the cold glass of the window. The mother was smirking, a tiny, imperceptible smirk hidden behind her fake tears. She knew she had won. She had weaponized the social contract against me. "Give it to him," she whispered, low enough so only I could hear, "or I start screaming rape." I froze. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just entitlement anymore. This was evil. Pure, distilled malice. I looked at the Switch, Sarah's Switch. I looked at the kid, who was now grinning, waiting for his prize. I looked at the mother. "Over my dead body," I said, and that's when she lunged. Chaos is a funny thing. It doesn't happen in slow motion like in the movies. It happens all at once, a blur of motion, sound, and pain. When she lunged, she didn't go for the console, she went for my face. Her nails, those red talons, raked across my cheek. I felt the skin split. A hot, stinging line of fire erupted under my left eye. "You pervert, get away from my son," she was screaming, playing the role of the terrified mother defending her cub, while simultaneously clawing my eyes out. I stumbled back, hitting my head against the luggage rack. My glasses flew off. The world went blurry. I clutched the Switch to my chest with one hand, trying to push her away with the other. "Get off me!" I yelled. "Help! He's hurting me!" she wailed. That was the trigger. The flannel guy didn't ask questions. He saw a man pushing a woman. He played the hero. He grabbed me by the back of my hoodie and yanked. The fabric choked me. I was pulled backward, out of my seat, into the aisle. I crashed onto the floor, my knees slamming into the thin carpet. "Stay down," Flannel Guy shouted, pinning me with his boot. "Let go, you don't understand," I gasped, trying to breathe. The mother stood over me. She looked like a giantess from this angle. She fixed her hair, panting, looking around at the passengers who were now standing, filming with their phones. "He tried to hit my son," she sobbed to the audience. He's sick. I just asked him to turn down the volume and he snapped." "Liar." "That's a lie," I croaked from the floor. "Shut up," Flannel Guy pressed his boot harder. Then the kid moved. Timmy, the architect of my destruction. While I was pinned, while his mother was performing her monologue, he saw his opportunity. The Switch had fallen from my hand when I was tackled. It was lying on the seat, face up. The screen was glowing. Timmy grabbed it. "Mine," he declared. "Timmy, baby, come here," the mother said, not taking the device away from him. "No," I shouted. "Don't touch it. That's Sarah's." The kid looked at me. He saw the desperation in my eyes. And kids can be cruel in a way that is almost innocent. They test boundaries. They break things to see what happens. He held the Switch up. He looked at the buttons. He started mashing them. "It's locked," the kid whined. "I can't play." "Give it to me, sweetie," the mother said. She took the Switch from him. She looked down at me. Our eyes met. She saw the blood running down my cheek. She saw the terror. She knew exactly how much that device meant to me. And because she couldn't have it, because I had dared to say no to her, she decided that nobody would have it. "Disgusting filth," she spat. She raised the Switch high above her head. "No!" I screamed. I struggled against the guy holding me. "Please don't!" She slammed it down. Not onto the seat, onto the metal armrest. Crack! The sound was sickening. It sounded like a bone breaking. The screen shattered. The Joy-Cons flew off. The device bent at a grotesque angle. Shards of glass sparkled on the dirty train floor. My heart stopped. Literally, for a second, I didn't breathe. That wasn't just a console. That was Sarah. That was our last trip together. That was her save file where she built a house in Animal Crossing. That was the last piece of her that was alive. "Oops," the mother said. Her face was blank. It slipped. I went feral. I didn't care about the guy holding me. I didn't care about the law. I roared, a sound that tore my throat apart. I bucked my hips and threw the flannel guy off balance. I scrambled to my feet, blood dripping from my face, tears blinding me. "You killed her!" I screamed, not making sense to anyone but myself. I lunged at the woman. I didn't hit her. I wanted to. God, I wanted to turn her face into pulp, but I stopped inches from her. I just screamed in her face. That was enough for the rest of the train. 2 other men grabbed me. They slammed me against the wall of the bathroom. "We got him! Call the conductor! Call the police!" The mother picked up her son, clutching him dramatically. "He's insane! He tried to kill us!" I slumped against the wall, held up by strangers who thought they were saving the day. I looked at the floor, at the twisted plastic and glass. The screen was black, dead. Sarah was gone, again. I stopped fighting. I stopped screaming. I went numb. A cold, gray numbness that starts in your fingers and ends in your soul. The conductor arrived 5 minutes later, a short, sweating man who looked overwhelmed. "What is going on here?" "He attacked me," the mother shouted immediately. "He's a lunatic. He tried to lure my son with that game, and when I told him to stop, he hit me." "He's got a weapon," the conductor asked, looking at my blood. "He scratched himself to make it look like I did it," she lied. The audacity was breathtaking. "Look at him! He's on drugs!" The conductor looked at me. "Sir, is this true?" I couldn't speak. I just stared at the broken switch. "Sir?" "She broke it," I whispered. "She broke it." "He's high," the mother said confidently. "I want him off this train. I want him arrested. He's a danger to children." The train was slowing down. We were approaching a station, not my stop, a random town in the middle of nowhere. "We're calling the cops," the conductor said. "We're holding here until they arrive." I closed my eyes. I was bleeding, I was restrained, my most precious possession was destroyed, and I was being painted as a predator by a woman who deserves to be in a cage. But amidst the despair, a tiny, cold thought started to form in the back of my brain. A thought that sounded like a lawyer. See, I didn't mention my job earlier. I lost my job at the agency. A digital forensics agency. I wasn't just a gamer. I was a man who knew how data worked, I knew how surveillance worked, and I remembered something. I opened my eyes. I looked at the mother. She was smirking at me again, hugging her son, bathing in the sympathy of the crowd. Enjoy it, I thought. Enjoy this moment, because it's the last happy moment you're going to have for a very, very long time. I looked up at the luggage rack above seat 14A. There, blinking with a tiny, almost invisible red light, was the GoPro I had set up to record a time-lapse of the journey for my travel blog. It had been running the whole time, wide angle, 4K resolution. It saw everything. It heard everything. I stopped crying. I spit the blood out of my mouth. "Call the police," I said clearly. "Call them. I want to talk to them." The police arrived 10 minutes later, 2 officers. One was older, Sergeant Miller, with a mustache that looked like a bristle brush. The other was young, Officer Davis, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. They stepped onto the train car and the atmosphere shifted. The mob mentality evaporated, replaced by nervous silence. "Who called it in?" Miller asked, his hand resting on his belt. "I did." The mother shot up from her seat. She had been rehearsing this moment. She had fixed her hair, wiped the sweat, but left the tears. She pointed a trembling finger at me. "That man! That maniac! He attacked me and my son!" I was still sitting on the floor, leaning against the bathroom wall. My face was a mask of dried blood. My hoodie was torn where the flannel guy had grabbed me. Officer Davis looked at me. He saw the blood. He saw the broken electronics on the floor. "Sir, stand up slowly," he ordered, hand on his taser. I stood up. My knees popped. I felt dizzy. "Turn around, hands on the wall." "He has a weapon!" the mother shrieked. "Check him! He tried to stab me with something!" "Ma'am, please step back," Miller said, looking annoyed. He patted me down. "Nothing but a wallet and a phone." "He's crazy," she continued, pacing back and forth. "He was showing my son pornography on that game machine, and when I told him to stop, he snapped. He hit me. Look at my arm." She held up her arm. There was a tiny red mark. probably from where she bumped into the seat while smashing my property. He twisted my wrist. I want to press charges. Assault, attempted, everything. Miller turned me around. Sir, what's your side of the story? I looked at the officer. My throat was dry. She wanted my switch, I rasped. I said no. She tried to take it. She scratched my face. She smashed my property. Liar, she screamed. Why would I want a toy? I'm a mother. You're a drug addict. Flannel guy stepped in. Officer, I saw it. He got aggressive. He pushed her. It was a perfect storm. Her lies, the witness, my appearance. I was going to jail. I could see it in Miller's eyes. He was already pulling out the handcuffs. Sir, you're under arrest for assault and disorderly conduct, Miller said. The mother smirked. It was a vile, triumphant twitch of her lips. She hugged Timmy. Thank God, get him away from us. Miller grabbed my wrist. The cold steel touched my skin. Officer, I said. My voice was quiet. Before you do that, look up. Miller paused. What? Look up, I repeated. Seat 14A, the luggage rack. Miller looked up. Officer Davis looked up. Even the mother looked up. There, clamped to the metal railing, was my GoPro. The little red light was blinking. Blink, blink, blink. Like a heartbeat. It's a wide-angle lens, I said, staring directly at the mother. Her smirk vanished. It has a 128-gigabyte card. It's been recording since we left the station. 4K video, high-quality audio. The silence in the train car was absolute. It was heavier than gravity. Officer, I continued, if you arrest me, you're arresting the victim. But if you take that camera, you'll see who the real criminal is. Miller looked at the camera. He looked at me. He looked at the mother. She was pale now. Not just pale, gray. Davis, get the camera, Miller said. No, she shouted. You can't. That's illegal. He was filming me without my consent. That's a crime. It's a public space, ma'am, Miller said flatly. No expectation of privacy on a train. Davis pulled the camera down. He stopped the recording. He pulled out his tablet and connected the camera via the cable. Let's see, Davis said. For the next 5 minutes, we stood there. Davis held the tablet so Miller could see. I watched their faces. First, they were neutral. Then, Davis frowned. Then, Miller's eyebrows shot up. They heard the conversation. They heard her demands. They heard the slap of her tearing the headphones off me. They heard the scream, pervert. And then, they saw the climax. They saw her face twisted with malice as she raised the switch and smashed it. They saw me screaming in agony. They saw her scratch my face while I was backing away. Miller paused the video. He looked at the freeze frame of her scratching me. He looked at my face. The cut matched perfectly. He handed the tablet to Davis. He turned to the mother. Ma'am, Miller said. His voice was different now, harder. Turn around. What? She whispered. You are under arrest, Miller said, pulling his handcuffs out again, for assault causing bodily harm, destruction of property, and filing a false police report. No, she shrieked. It was a primal sound. You can't. I'm a mother. My son needs me. He did it. He provoked me. Miller didn't argue. He spun her around. Click, click. The sound of the cuffs locking on her wrists was the most beautiful music I had ever heard, better than any symphony. Timmy, she wailed. Timmy, tell them the bad man hit you. The kid looked up from his iPad. He looked at his mom in handcuffs. He looked at me. I want juice, the kid said. She was dragged off the train kicking and screaming. She called me every name in the book. She spit at the officers. She tried to bite Davis. They added resisting arrest and assault on an officer to the list. Flannel guy was standing there, looking at his boots. Hey, I said to him. He looked up, terrified. You're lucky I'm tired, I said, or I'd sue you for assault too. Sit down and shut up. He sat. He didn't move for the rest of the trip. I sat back down in seat 14A. I picked up the pieces of the switch. The screen was spiderwebbed, the backplate was bent. I pressed the power button. Nothing. I held it to my chest. I didn't cry. I was too empty for tears. I just watched the police lights fade into the distance as the train started moving again. She thought it was over. She thought she'd get a slap on the wrist. She was wrong. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I disagree. Revenge is a dish best served in a courtroom with high-definition video evidence and a shark of a lawyer. I didn't let it go. I could have accepted the restitution check and moved on. But she broke Sarah's switch. She destroyed the last digital memory I had of the woman I loved. So I decided to destroy her life. I hired a lawyer, not a cheap one. I dipped into my savings. I told him I want maximum damage, legal damage. The criminal trial happened 3 months later. The video was the star witness. The prosecutor played it on a large screen. The jury watched in high definition as this woman tormented a quiet man, lied about him being a pedophile, and then violently assaulted him. Her defense was stress. She claimed she was a tired single mother and I had been spiritually aggressive by ignoring her. The judge wasn't buying it, especially not after the video showed her smirking. The charges stuck: assault causing bodily harm, criminal mischief over $500, filing a false report. She got 18 months. She didn't get probation. The judge wanted to make an example of entitled behavior in public transport. 18 months in a state facility. I was there when the gavel banged. She looked at me. She wasn't screaming anymore. She looked small, broken. I didn't smile. I just nodded. But I wasn't done. After the criminal trial came the civil suit. I sued her for medical bills. The cut on my face got infected, needed antibiotics. I sued her for the property damage. I sued her for defamation of character, for shouting "pervert" in a crowded train. And I sued her for emotional distress. My lawyer brought up Sarah. We brought Sarah's death certificate. We brought photos of us. We explained to the court why that specific Nintendo Switch was priceless. We painted a picture of a grieving widower trying to heal and a monster who smashed his therapy tool for fun. The jury cried. Literally, one juror had to use a tissue. The judgment came back, $45,000. She didn't have $45,000 lying around. She had to sell her car. She had to dip into her savings. She had to move out of her nice apartment into a smaller, cheaper one to pay the judgment. She lost her job as a receptionist because, unsurprisingly, nobody wants to employ a woman who goes viral for assaulting passengers on a train. I destroyed her credit score. I destroyed her reputation. I destroyed her freedom for a year and a half. Last week, I received the final check from the garnishment of her wages. I took the check to the mall. I walked into the electronics store. I bought a new Nintendo Switch OLED. I bought a new copy of Breath of the Wild. I sat on a bench in the mall. I turned it on. I logged into my cloud account. I held my breath as the synchronization bar filled up. Downloading save data, 100% complete. I opened the game. I loaded the save file. There it was, Sarah's house in Hateno Village, the weapons she had collected, the horse she had named Star. It was all there. The hardware was gone, the stickers she put on the back were gone, the physical object she touched was dust, but her ghost was still in the machine. I started crying right there in the food court, not tears of sadness, but tears of relief. I had protected her. It cost me blood, a scar on my face, and months of legal hell, but I had protected her. People ask me if I feel bad for the mother. She writes me letters from prison, apology letters that are thinly veiled attempts to get me to drop the rest of the debt. She talks about how hard it is for Timmy. I burn them. I don't care about Timmy. Timmy learned a valuable lesson that day, one his mother never taught him. You don't touch other people's things, and if you act like a monster, don't be surprised when you meet a man who is willing to become a demon to stop you. Game over.
Thank you for staying with me until the end. How would you have acted in the protagonist's place? Write your thoughts in the comments. More fresh and controversial stories every day on my profile. Like and subscribe to this channel.